From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, the rest of the Renegade Express mailbag. Do we forecast any potential breakout players? And just how important is it to keep the foot on the pedal in the portal? Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com is the website. You can always hit that QR code on your screen, on your phones, anywhere you see the Wake Up Warchant logo. On Friday, the lunch special, only $8.99 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Chicken strip basket, hand-breaded chicken tenders served with a dipping sauce, or they'll even be tossed in a sauce of your choosing. And you get a side dish, folks. Fries, curly fries, onion rings, potato salad, broccoli side salad, tater tots, or freshly cooked potato chips. Have all that and more over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Usually live music's going down on a Friday night, Corey. Any confirmation on that? Do we know? Maybe. If not, just there's darts, billiards, anything else that'll keep you entertained on a weekend with the kids.
And a jukebox. And all the sports you can want. NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball. He loves his XFL and AFL and USFL and all those. So it's all there at the CP. But I do not know about live music. I apologize.
Stanley Cup playoffs as well, too. So.
Oh, that's right. And he's sort of a hockey fan. So, and I say he, I mean Bill, the owner. By the way, if you see him, tell him you love Corey and you love Aslan, and that's why you're there.
Boom. There we go. All right, Corey, let's wrap up this Renegade Express mailbag that we started off the other day. It's the off season, everybody. Just want to give you a little bit to enjoy as many days in a week as we possibly can. Let's go to Renegade_Bryce. Wake up! Is it a bad sign that neither Jaylen Key nor Keon Coleman have committed yet? Do you think the longer this goes, the more likely they are to commit elsewhere? Also, I know Key is more of a necessity depth-wise for us, but if we could only land one of these guys, I would pick Coleman. Having him and Johnny lined up opposite of each other would be awesome. If you could only pick one, which guy would you take? It makes sense that they have not committed to us yet as we record this. Again, I think the plan for Jaylen Key is to announce later on today on Friday. I don't know what the timeline is on Keon Coleman. And I don't know just how serious he's taking LSU. I'm just a little bit nervous about LSU, man. I just think with Coleman, man, like he was here like pretty quickly. And if he didn't commit, like, yeah, that just seems like, these things usually don't last as long as obviously high school recruitments, Corey, especially like this second window of it. So a little bit more concerned there. But Jaylen Key, I get it, man. He went back to Alabama for an official. It's like a multi-day thing. Listen, man, if Jaylen Key was from Georgia, this thing is over. He's in Tuscaloosa. Absolutely. But, man, this is real, like, hometown. I don't know if it's dream playing for FSU, but, like, Florida State's got all the emotional baggage. But I think, like, the analytical stuff, if you look at it, probably favors Alabama a little bit. But I'm not concerned about Key in that regard, like, via Coleman. Key, it made sense to go back and do another official visit. Florida State got really high marks. Like, it would be nice if you shut it down, but I get it, man. It's Alabama. You got to go kick the tires one more time. But if I can have one of them, like I said the other day, sorry, Corey. If I can only have one of them, I would take Jaylen Key. I get the Coleman, give yourself Twin Tower, just absolute dogs out wide. But no, I want another defensive back.
Well, what throws a wrench into it a little bit for me is that, and I don't know how good Keon Coleman is, quite honestly. I mean, he put up really good numbers this past year, but is he a guy that could win LSU the game in Orlando?
Yeah.
Because if he's that good, what would it cost you to keep him? What would be a good price to keep him from what is probably your biggest game of the season, or at least your second biggest game of the season? You'd rather have him on your team than play against him. So, yeah. And in this day and age, there is probably a price tag. Like, what would that win mean for Florida State, dollars and cents wise? Probably a pretty big, probably a nice number. So does that come into the factoring at all when you're talking about keeping him away from your season opening opponent? Like if you think he's that kind of player, like I'm not saying he's Randy Moss or Jerry Rice or
Calvin Johnson.
I was gonna say Plaxico Burress.
That's good though. He went to Michigan State.
Michigan State route, yeah. He's not Charles Rogers over
there
here.
We go, my man.
Doing it. So all the great Detroit Lions of years past.
Muhsin Muhammad. I think Muhsin Muhammad went to Michigan State. Sorry.
I thought he went to Georgia.
Muhsin Muhammad?
I thought so. I could be wrong.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
Yeah, look that up. I know there was a Muhammad that went to Georgia that was a wide receiver. But anyway, but yes, I think Key is the one that is a bigger import. He's import of importance, I should say, and would be the bigger import because that is a need. Keon Coleman is a want. But yes, if we want to be greedy, yeah, give us the best receiver in the portal to go along with one of just the best receivers in the country, period, and one of the best quarterbacks, and one of the best running backs, and one of the best tight ends, and a very good offensive line. Bring them all. Get all the toys. But I just think if you could only pick one, I know that is more of a position of need. But Keon Coleman might be an NFL wide receiver, and you don't maybe want to say no to those guys either. But still, if you can only pick one, I think the answer is the safety.
Muhsin Muhammad's from Lansing, Michigan. He went to Michigan State.
Man, look at you. Who was I thinking of then? Good grief. Look at you. Good job, Aslan. I'm sorry I doubted you.
Now, there was somebody, I think, that had a name similar branch of ethnicity. I can say that. I'm Middle Eastern, everybody. It's fine. Can't cancel me on this one. That played at Georgia the last few years. So I get it. I'll try to maybe hammer down into the roster and look at it. It'd be huge, man. If they beat LSU, they are presumptive playoff team, like leading the ACC, I think, especially because I think Clemson plays Duke in that first week, and if that game doesn't look – if they look as kind of up and down as they did last year, opening up their season against – I mean, I think, Uyunglele did not look all that great until maybe the third quarter against, I think, Georgia Tech they might have opened up with.
Yeah.
I mean, then that puts you in the huge position in terms of marketing dollars and cents and – get everybody on board for season tickets and renewals, and let's get the rest of the money for this football-only facility. Maybe we shouldn't have talked about that. Maybe Keon Coleman's agent's listening to this like, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm gonna really put
you got to think that comes into that but for both sides. If it came down to an LSU-FSU battle, that's crazy. It's smart, though, because especially for Florida State because, if you beat LSU, you can afford a loss to Clemson and still make the playoff as long as you beat them in December. Like, it would be like, you know what I mean? Like, you had already beaten that. But if you lose to the SEC team and then beat Clemson twice, it'll be like, oh, it's a down year for the ACC. Big deal. You won the ACC. Who cares? You lost to the only real, and I'm putting this in quotes, the only real good team you played, you lost to start the season. But if you beat LSU, that gives you a little runway. Gives you a little room for error, a margin for error. It's a huge game for playoff purposes. So just, that might be a factor is all I'm saying. Keeping him away. Just keeping him away.
706 Noel. They joined on Christmas Day 2022. Wake up, longtime listener, first-time poster with this account.
Okay. With this account. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That he's got Corso on the game day desk with a headdress, which used to be a poster like his name was like Hey Duke something. Had the same avatar, so maybe this is him. Sorry to blow your cover, buddy. Anyhow, I started listening to Wake Up Warchant, I believe, right at its inception. Jimbo had just quit on us, and I'm not sure Aslan was on the show for the first few episodes I tuned in for. I was living in Lubbock. Correct, I was not on the show. I was living in Lubbock, Texas at the time for work and needed a source of news to track the new hire, and boy, it has been a wild ride with y'all since. Very grateful for y'all for providing the news insight through the years, even though Florida State has been less than stellar on the field. Not a problem, man. Just doing the job. Glad
we
to be
appreciate
here,
it, though. We appreciate it, though. Thank you.
Question. Over under, how many Florida State fans would spontaneously combust if Destin Hill were to transfer after 1 year at FSU? He says over 1,000. The young man is a stud, could have a breakout year in an already somewhat stacked receiver room, and would be a hot commodity for a team like LSU next year. Just saying, nothing surprises me with the sport anymore, and it's hard to hold it against these guys when they're pursuing opportunities. Go Noles.
Yeah, I mean, let's slow our roll on that. Let's see what kind of college football player he even is. If you're worried about LSU coming and taking him, but yeah, man, that's how it is with all these guys now. Like, that's the way of the world. Rodney Hill could have a really good season, and then you got to wonder, okay, I mean, he's from Georgia. I know it's Statesboro, doesn't really count as like close to Athens, but maybe the home state team wants to take a run at him. That's just how this world works now. So yeah, I get it. I would imagine there would be a lot of eye rolls in like throwing their hands in the air. I don't know about spontaneously combusting.
No.
That doesn't happen all that often. But Florida State fans would certainly be frustrated, with good reason, if the guy they've waited on for 2 years finally shows up and then leaves after 4 months.
Well, it depends. Like if he catches 24 for 450 and 6 touchdowns or something, and then decides to leave, versus he doesn't do really much of anything. Like, oh, it's whatever. I get it, man. He wants to be closer to his family or whatever he's got. I get it. But no, if he's performed well, it's going to be, oh, you turned your back on this coaching staff. They stayed loyal to you the whole time. So yeah, I don't know what to root for. Do we want him to do great and then we maybe lose him, or do we want him to be the secret weapon and then we unleash him next year when there's a little bit of a void out there? So.
Yeah, he'll have plenty of chances to get on the field next year for sure, you would think. By the way, I looked it up. It's Mohamed Massaquoi.
There we go.
Georgia. From North Carolina. I mean, I should have known that. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, he played with the Browns.
Yeah.
Should have remembered that for Stephanie.
That's right. Flava Noles got a question about, I got to tag Ira. He's pretty much asking Ira. Ira's back at the ranch. He's not on the ponies with us, galloping across the prairie on this. But he says, bonus-related football question. If our kicking game remains inconsistent in the fall, should Nole fans prepare ourselves for an aggressive approach to going forward on 4th down? I, for one, am fine with it despite our recent struggles. We have a dynamic offense and should be trying to score more touchdowns versus field goals and retain possession, particularly with the running game clock starting this year. Statistical analytics demonstrate the coaches kick far too often. With Norvell's bad luck on 4th down the first 3 years, maybe this year the law of averages finally favors us. Then again, we open with LSU, and the boards will explode if we lose close, having missed scoring opportunities on 2 4th-and-goal possessions.
Yeah, so I just looked it up. The problem, yeah, I do think they should be aggressive with a really good offense. I hate the term, now they have to punt. You never have to punt. You can go for it on 4th and 20 from your 1 if you want. You're not being forced to punt. You're making the decision to punt. But, when you're at like the 35-yard line and it's 4th and 4, well, yeah, man, you got to – and I think there was a play like that in the Oklahoma game. And Jordan threw an interception because it was 4th and 6 anyway. So Oklahoma was going to get the ball regardless if you didn't make it. But it was like on their side of the field. It wasn't probably 4th and 6. It was probably 4th and 3. It was close enough that you'd go for it. But the problem last year with their 4th down conversions was they were terrible. I just looked it up. They were 8 of 23.
Jeez, really?
That's awful. And you have to imagine. I'm trying to look. It doesn't break it down like that. The yards to gain on their 4th down conversions had to be like an average of 4 or 3. Or maybe even less than that. But they were awful. They were 8 of 23 on 4th down conversions. So go for it more than that. That's fine, but get better at it. And I don't know. That's easy to say. Like, call better plays and get yards. But yeah, they should be much better than. It's kind of crazy. As bad as they were in the red zone statistically, and as bad as they were in 4th down conversions. I mean, that had to be one of the lower numbers in the United States.
120th in 4th down conversion
come
percentage.
on, man. Let's bump that thing into the 60s.
Fourth, though, in 3rd down conversion percentage. Just do better on 3rd down so you don't have any of these.
Well, they do pretty darn well on 3rd down, so that's good. So, yeah, but I would think law of averages, you're probably going to take a step back a little bit in 3rd down conversions. You're not going to probably convert at that level all the time,
mean it was only 51%. That's crazy to me. They only converted
51% is awesome.
That's 4th though. I figured like something like 58%,
no, man.
56%.
Yeah. I mean, 51% is really good. I don't even know what the 2013 team did, but I can't imagine it was much higher than that. That's a great percentage.
Washington had the number 1 3rd down conversion percentage, 57%.
Yeah, so 51, that's good. That's really good. So anyway, the point being, they'll probably won't be converting at a 50% clip, you wouldn't think. In 2023, the law of averages will bring that down, but that means you will have to go for it more on fourth down because I do think he will. I think he's not going to want to, especially like the I can't remember who asked the question. I'm sorry about the clock with the clock and less possessions. You can't just give the ball up at your own 46-yard line because it's 4th and 2. And Norvell wasn't all about that life anyway, even when he didn't have a good offense. So yeah, I can see them going for it more if they're less successful on third down. But they need to be better. 8 out of 23. Get it together, Mike.
Random _ John.
Golly, in 2021, they were only 7 of 21 on fourth downs. So they were worse in 2021 than they were in 2022.
I didn't think they were that horrendous last year on fourth down. Crazy enough.
But in 2020,
it's a short memory. Yeah.
In 2020, they were 15 of 28. They had a 53.6% conversion percentage. So
there you go.
That's crazy. How about what do you think? I just looked up 2013. What do you think their fourth down percentage conversion rate was?
Oh, geez, they probably went for 6 times and converted 4. So
they were close. They were 3 of 4. They went for it 4 times.
My man.
Yep.
Run out Kaysen. Was Kaysen baited punt? Yeah, Kaysen baited.
Kaysen was punting.
Yeah, VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code is Warchant BOGO, BOGO. Buy one, get one free at VitaminEnergy.com. When you use that promo code, courtesy of our good friends over there. Multi-sport, Corey. Keep pointing out the fact that we had an all-ACC performer on the Oval. But a multi-sport athlete, Corey, at the helm, making things happen. So use the promo code. Show your appreciation, right, Corey?
That's right. It's not Brad Johnson. We're not going to tell you who it is, but it's not Brad Johnson. It's not Deion Sanders. But it's somebody, that played, multiple sports. So, that's all you need to know for now. But, yeah, man, hey, can't say enough good things about it. Brady's taken it a couple of times. I worry about him being too not that you, like I said, not that you run off the walls with this stuff, but I want him to be able to go to sleep at night at a normal time because Lord knows high school kids these days, Aslan.
Tell me about
it. They got to get up at 5:30 in the morning. It's ridiculous. So, I try to every now and again, if he's really struggling to start the day, I don't want him, I guess high schoolers drink coffee, but I'd rather him do the shot of the vitamin energy because I know he's getting vitamins, man.
Exactly.
He's getting bigger and stronger and he's also going to be awake. So that's why I like it.
If Hulk Hogan was in his prime right now, I think he would tell kids to say their prayers and drink their vitamin energy. So that's just my theory on things. Check it out, vitaminenergy.com. Again, that promo code is Warchant BOGO, BOGO. Shake it and take it, vitaminenergy.com. Walking Nolo 1. Last year we had help at the wide receiver position in late October when Ja'Kai Douglas came back. It was fresh back. It was a fresh out of leg. I don't know. Someone read it or wrote it wrong. Sorry. We love Walker, though. Ja'Kai Douglas, October, fresh legs. Who could be that guy this year that breaks out in the middle of the season and gives Johnny Wilson in the wide receiver room the energy it needs to finish out the season? And Vandravius, Destin Hill, who do you guys think?
Yeah, both are good choices. I don't expect Vandravius to play a ton in that first game, but yes, as the season wears on, I think he could be a guy that you notice that sometimes you do it. I noticed it in basket. You notice it more running back and in basketball when a guy's been out for I don't know, especially in the NBA if they've been out for 2 months and they come back and they look like they're playing in fast motion. Everybody else is in slow motion. It's the same thing with like a running back that hasn't played in 6 weeks. And I think more towards the running back, like somebody like Keziah Holmes, I think maybe won't get used a ton to start the year. But if there's an injury or if the other guys are just getting tired, they're dead leg, they're a little banged up, you bring that guy in who's only had, I don't know, maybe he's only had 11 carries through the first month. And then he just looks like he's running at a different speed. He looks faster because everybody else is a little worn down, a little tired. So it doesn't happen a ton at wide receiver, but I would guess Vandravius or I don't know. But yeah, sure, Destin Hill. Or Keon Coleman.
There we go. I like that. Well, can't we just say Ja'Kai again? I thought that was a really good answer you gave like a week or so ago when someone was asking about, like who are we not talking about? Give us like a under-the-radar kind of difference maker possibly. Because, listen, man, we've been in every single practice, and everybody seemingly had a good day at some point, and we mentioned it. So I feel like we've talked about pretty much every I don't know, at least 65 guys that are on scholarship and probably giving them pretty good praise in at least one episode. But, yeah, Ja'Kai might be that guy that we just constantly kind of overlook. I don't want to say we disrespect him because we appreciate just how good he is. But, man, he just is something different, man. And he's proven that he's quite capable and a valuable piece of all this. So when we think about Johnny or, Kentron or Vandrevius and Hakeem and, can Darion Williamson get finally right? It's like, hey, man, Ja'Kai's healthy, man. Ja'Kai is pretty good in the slot. He's shown what he could do in the second half of the year. So maybe he'll just be used just at a nice rate the entire year. Just steady Ja'Kai. Random_John. How essential is Jaylen Key to our mission of playoff domination? Is he the cherry on top of the Seminole Sunday or the secret sauce that'll rocket us to glory? What happens to the back end of our defense if we do not get him or anyone near as good as him? What if we get just another guy? What do you think about this kid from Louisiana Lafayette? I mean, he's like 5'9", like 190 pounds.
Okay.
His name's escaping me right now. I had it on my screen. I don't know where I...
Is it Lafayette or Monroe?
Lafayette. Cam Pettisclo.
Okay.
He was
cool
the
name.
second, highest. He's from Houston, so I was like, oh, he's probably going to go to LSU. But, I mean, Houston's got a pretty sizable LSU pull or whatever, but it's not like a hometown kind of thing. But he was apparently the second highest graded safety per PFF. Our Matt Lasser dropped that name on the board a few days back or whatever. So, I don't know if 5'9", 190 is what we're looking for, but I mean, shoot, if he's the second highest graded safety, then that'll play. 89.7 is what he graded out at. He didn't do all that well against the Noles, though. He graded out at 51. So.
Ooh, sorry. Well, he ran up against a juggernaut. He ran up against the buzzsaw.
That was the lowest he graded out all year. Well, it was against Florida State. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't want to have it both ways here. Like, if they don't get Jaylen Key, I'm like, well, there goes a shot at winning a national title. Man, if they get him, I feel that much better, though, about it. I'm like, all right, the biggest concern, and listen, everyone's biggest concern coming out of spring, Corey, was what? Safety, right? Like, we all agreed on that. I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Defensive end or safety, but probably safety because this was even before Cooper and Jay. There was nothing that you could count on behind their two starters.
Yeah, so if you give yourself a piece that's on par with what you already have back there and maybe better, you feel really good about that. Listen, man, against Florida, shout out to McClellan because he came in late in that game and finished off and played pretty well. Now, listen, maybe you don't need somebody amazing, but I don't know, can a true freshman play with maybe the poise that a Jarquez McClellan, who's been doing it for 4 years, can in that situation? Like, you don't want to find yourself in the swamp in a one-possession game, and like a true freshman's having to go out there and do some stuff. So but at the same
swamp
time,
is even what bothers me or worries me the most because McClellan, I mean, he got called for that pass interference on 4th and forever, which I thought was not a good call, especially in Doak. But then he ended up making a pass breakup later in the game that might have saved the game. And he had played a bunch of football, but I don't. If KJ Kirkland starts playing the week 3, by the time they get to the swamp, he might be. You see that a lot. There are true freshmen that play, especially guys that enroll in January. I'm more worried about that first month, man.
Yeah.
That first month are your two biggest games. They both come in that first month, and if one of your safeties isn't healthy, or isn't fully healthy, or it gets banged up, or his helmet comes off, or he gets ejected for targeting, which happens a lot. I'm not trying to put that out in the world, everyone, but it does happen. That is something you got to worry about. That's where I worry about KJ Kirkland the most, and that's why I want somebody with some real college football experience, preferably from a Power 5 school. Now, I know this kid isn't from a Power 5 school. He's from UAB, but he's played forever. He's played a lot of reps. I just want somebody that I know I can depend on to not get embarrassed and to not lose games for us, and that's what you're looking for at the safety position, in my opinion.
MyBookie.ag, promo code WARCHANT, instant cash deposit bonus. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at MyBookie.ag. We're going to keep it rolling with the NBA playoffs, y'all. Knicks, Heat, Golden State, Lakers. I'm going to go with the under on Heat Knicks. I think it's just going to be kind of an ugly desperate struggle. I think the Heat are going to cover, but we're not going to go with that play. We're going to go with the under, 208. I can see like a 108-97 kind of final. So we'll go with the under on that. And then I'm taking the Lakers. A little bit of a homer pick. They're giving out 2.5. Go ahead, give the 2.5 points away. I think Anthony Davis is going to be really upset that everybody was mocking him for having a concussion for getting tapped on the face. I think LeBron's going to do LeBron things. Austin Reeves going to put buckets after buckets up on the board. So those are your picks. Pair them together as a parlay if you want. You can do that at mybookie.ag. Bet them individually if you don't want to be so risky. You can do anything. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie. You also take advantage of their live casino. That promo code WARCHANT will still get you a cash deposit bonus you can use in there as well. MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, and make sure you use that promo code WARCHANT. All right, here we go, Corey. We made it. It's kind of funny. Like we're ending both of these. I'm kind of reading this question beforehand, but let me just go and talk it out. Naked_Nole.
Naked, nice.
Hypothetical, and his avatar is of someone maybe naked next to the Renegade statue, the Unconquered statue.
Oh.
Interesting. But, like, it's very small, so I had to really zoom in. So I think that's how he got past our moderation. Anyhow, hypothetical situation for you guys. After a long and fulfilling podcast career, you have decided to hang up the mics. After observing the wild success of Wake Up Warchant, a company has offered to purchase your likenesses in order to create artificial intelligence podcast hosts, Corey and Aslan. Their hope is to create a Wake Up podcast for every college football team. The AI's, artificial intelligence, will be modeled from your vast catalog of existing audio. Would you entertain this offer? What concerns would you have?
Well, look, we'd entertain any offers, right? Like, I'm not going to say no to anything. You know, I'll go to who knows? I mean, I'd go to Mogadishu if the offer was good enough. But as far as my concern would be, I'm putting real people out of work.
Yes.
That would be my, like, if go back to UTEP. Well, we'll go to USC. If USC had like a podcast that was kind of popular or was just getting off the ground, but they were starting to make some real money and get sponsorships, and all of a sudden this conglomerate just puts every college has its own by the numbers podcast that's done the exact same way, but people listen to it, and therefore Joe and Johnny, who were doing that USC podcast, now nobody's listening to theirs because they're listening to this really cool one with Corey and Aslan, but it's not really Corey and Aslan. That would make me feel bad. It made me feel bad that I'm taking money out of their hands, food out of their mouth. So that would be my biggest concern. That, and that apparently AI is just going to be the death of all of us. Yeah. We're all going to die from an evil robot, apparently.
We made a movie about this too, so we almost deserve it. Almost like we deserve it. My only concern would be, like, my voice model. Like, I don't want my voice being used to, like, oh man, how about the Gators, man? We're off to a 6-0 start right now. We're killing it. We look great. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't want my likeness used to publicize, romanticize, amplify anything associated with certain programs, certain coaches, certain players.
What about Texas A&M?
I mean, that'd be cool if, like, Jimbo and I, like Artificial Aslan and Artificial Jimbo, had like just these conversations weekly. That'd be great.
About society?
Yeah. Can't believe just artificial intelligence and Jimbo just talking about just
gibberish.
Oh man. Not to get too far in the weeds on this, we're going to wrap up the show. I did see some article, or like I read the headline. I didn't read the story, which I'm a total.
Right. That sums up 2023 perfectly.
Horribly. Just like AI forecasted to take 80% of jobs in the next whatever years. And I started thinking about all my friends, and there's only one friend because he works in finance, and it's like, all right, yeah, they could do this all as like models and be like, all right, like, there's a human resource element where like you're, working on people's portfolios, but I guess they could be like, all right, listen, we just need a model that's going to be able to pick out the best return on investment. But like one of my friends is an artist, the other one has like a landscaping company. Like, are we saying that AI is going to turn John Deere's into autonomous mowing machines, and we're not even going to need people like mow our lawn. Like and I'm scared of all this stuff, but I'm like, that's not going to happen. Like 80% sounds like a huge number. My mom was a nurse. Like, they're not going to replace nurses. They're not going to replace you writing a column. Like, who wants to read some artificial intelligence writing a column about a game they don't even know what it means. They don't know the feel of a football game is what it means to people. So I don't know. Maybe I'm naive though. But if anyone needs help to end this uprising before it's, let me know. I'm here.
You're here for it. Yeah, 80 seems like a large number. And I do hope what we have to hope for the future of humanity, or just the sports world, is that you folks listening to this are discerning enough to understand, what, the payoff of Aslan and I actually being real people talking about this. We have real faults. We say dumb things sometimes, but it's real. It's a human being. And I hope that you appreciate that. I hope everybody appreciates that. And that, that will be our saving grace. That will keep us from everything going. Because look, man, I've been in journalism long enough that these bots that write game stories have become a thing, where they get the stats, they take the stats, and they just, I was going to say a bad word, defecate out a game story. And it's got all the relevant information, but there's no style, there's no substance, there's no voice in it. And hopefully people will be discerning enough when it comes to the print media, the written word and also the spoken word, that you appreciate it coming from actual human beings and not some algorithm. That's just my hope, folks. That's just my hope. Who else would have said defecate right there? Not AI,
nope.
Not artificial intelligence. Nope. They would have used the word shit. You're going to have to bleep that out. Sorry, Aslan.
Not a problem. Well executed. Perfect. All right, that's a wrap for us and a wrap on the week. We'll be back on Monday with another show, another week of this. Thanks for doing this with us, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up. Leave a 5-star rating and review. And we'll catch you on Monday. But go to warchant.com in the meantime. All the news you need when it comes to the transfer portal, guys committing finally, and Destin Hill reaction possibly. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.